From A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places.
Welcome back to the Reading Room Ruffians, your favorite library podcast. This is Mallory. Did you miss me? I am reunited with my bestest babe, Ariel.
It's me!
Our Supreme Overlord Carla is here, and she is ready to drop some octopus knowledge on us. We have Susie, our beloved Board of Trustees president, with us.
Hey.
Hi, Susie. We are recording from our library in Jackson County, West Virginia. Zach, the pinky to Carla's brain, is recording from Seattle, Washington.
What are we going to do tomorrow night, Brian?
What we do every night, take over the world.
That was so good. Before we get to it, we have MiniCon coming up, which is going to be April 6th from 12 to 6 p.m. You're going to hear us talking about that a lot because it's probably our favorite and most stressful thing that we do every year.
Oh my God. And we've only got 60 days.
Okay.
I don't think any of us, we have a backdrop done. So there you go. We're ahead of the game.
Which one?
The spider.
Oh, and what is our theme for this year?
It is Epic Adventures. Our little slogan is Let the Adventure Begin.
Mm-hmm.
We are having Star Wars as a world, Percy Jackson as a world. Don't even say yours is the best, because it's not. And then, and then we have the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit as like one world. And we have the best world because we are going to try to figure out how to have potatoes.
Potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in
Star
a stew.
Wars.
That's right.
Yeah. And Zach, you need to come in during that time and come join our little party.
Yes.
No,
I'll
you have
do
to
my
come
best.
as Kylo Ren.
No.
No.
Kylo Ren.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
If you put hair on your feet more than you already have, you can walk around barefoot.
Rude.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh my God.
So anyways, I hope everyone is very excited for MiniCon. We are going to be freaking out for the next 60 days.
Yeah.
We have a lot to do and very little time, but we will be starting a MiniCon Facebook group soon so we can highlight vendors that we will have, show our progress that we are doing. So when we get that set up, we will definitely let you all know so you can join.
Yeah, hopefully the next episode will have that group that we can tell you about. Yeah, yeah. Fingers crossed for sure.
It's on the list.
Speaking of Facebook, you can find our Facebook group by searching Reading Room Ruffians Podcast, which is linked to our library's Facebook page at facebook.com/WVJCO Library. If that sounds a little different, that's because it is. We made a new Facebook page for reasons, and we would truly love it if you headed over to like and follow us there so we can regrow our page once more. You should also follow us on TikTok and Instagram at WVJCO Library. Check out our podcast Goodreads page, which we have linked in our descriptions of our episodes, along with our personal Goodreads pages. Okay, so Soul of an Octopus by Sy Montgomery is Carla's nonfiction pick.
Okay, I found this book quite by accident. Our book club at Ripley, My Time Book Club, had read this one. And I saw it laying in the box, getting ready to go back to the library commission. And I was like, wait a minute. That looks like the perfect nonfiction for me. So we have delayed sending the box back because I had to read the book.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I mean, it was an incredibly good book.
Incredibly good.
Yeah. I mean, I have a few critiques, but that's only because I have a science background and I wanted to see more on the, actually on the octopuses. And it is octopuses. It's not octopi because octopus is a Greek word and you don't put an I on the end of Greek words like you do the Latin. So it is octopuses, which seems really weird because we spent our whole lives saying octopi.
I know. I feel like Sylvester.
I know. Octopuses.
Octopuses. I like the octopodes. I heard somebody say that before, and that sounds fun.
Octopodes.
That's a cool one too. But it's like, it was hard for me to write that and to say it and to read it. But she covers that right at the beginning. Sy Montgomery is a naturalist, a documentary scriptwriter, and an author of 20 acclaimed books of nonfiction for adults and children, including the memoir, The Good Pig, which was a New York Times bestseller. And she is a recipient of numerous honors, including a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Humane Society and the New England Independent Booksellers Association. And she lives in New Hampshire with her husband, Border Collie, and a flock of chickens.
Oh, I love that.
Which come up in the... I mean, she talks about them.
Yeah.
In the book. She also wanted an octopus at one time after meeting Athena, which was the first one, and decided that putting in over 100-gallon tank and octopus proofing it was probably more than they needed to do. Which if we I tell you, if we could do it here, I would, but it's like there's way too much involved in an octopus.
Well, I got to tell you, I've been a fan of her children's series, The Scientist, and she does one called The Octopus Scientist. And she's done just tarantula scientists. She follows various scientists around who study particular animals. And great pictures, great text. They're really cool books for the kids. This is the first of the adult books of hers I've read.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was a her at first.
No, you think Sy, you think male.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's short for something.
Sylvia, maybe.
Maybe. Uh-huh. Okay, the book, when she starts out, she talks about how different an octopus is from people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not symmetrical. They have like all kinds of appendages. Of course, they've got their 8 legs or tentacles or whatever. Their mouth and their head and their eye. It's just like nothing is like us.
Yeah.
Nothing. Even the tentacles have brains in them because they can act independently of each other, which I thought was really cool.
That is cool.
So
it's because they're aliens seeded from, space.
That has been brought up.
They are so alien. They are so alien.
And they are so incredibly smart.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing, astonishing. They try to trick you.
Mm-hmm.
They are escape artists extraordinaire. I mean, Houdini had nothing on these guys.
Yeah.
They can change color, blend in. I mean, change the texture of their skin, squeeze through things you didn't think was possible, figure out puzzles, and they get bored if they don't have something to do.
Yeah.
And one of the guys in the book, I think it was Bill, he was like a volunteer. Maybe not. Maybe it was, let me see, I wrote it down. I don't think it was Bill. Bill was the actual scientist. It was Wilson. Anyway, he was a volunteer, and he was really good at designing the puzzles and things for them to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just amazing. The first octopus she meets was Athena, and she was at the aquarium in Massachusetts, the New England
in Boston.
Aquarium, which we have been to. Well, I have been to. Ariel, you've been to, haven't you?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think we went to it.
Anyway, I didn't know at the time that maybe there was a famous octopus there that I could have met. I remember seeing the octopus, but
Is it the octopus that we saw?
I don't know. I think this took place before we would have been there. So, but it was could have been the last one in here. And she also mentions the Seattle Aquarium, which I was like, been there too, which made it more exciting. I've totally lost my train of thought now, but the first octopus she meets was Athena, and Athena was very personable. She put her hand in the tank, and she immediately reached her tentacles up and touched her and stuff like that. And they taste with their tentacles, with their little suction cups and stuff. So not only is she touching Sy, she's also tasting her.
Yeah.
And that came up later when one of the people had smoked or something. There was nicotine in her system.
Yeah.
And I mean, Athena jerks away. And,
that's wild.
And yeah. She could taste what was going on with them.
That's wild.
Which gives you it's a whole new concept. It's like not only are you being touched but you're also being tasted.
Well, was one of the volunteers had switched meds?
Yeah, and that was, she bit her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She got bit. That was this volunteer though had been bitten or shocked or something by almost every animal she'd ever interacted with.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
God. I mean, seriously, she had this long list of the electric eel shocked her, the I mean, there was even farm animals. Like she got bit by, it's like pecked by chickens, and it was just
Dang.
everything.
Sounds like me at the zoo in Wheeling. Every time I turn around, one of the birds goes for me. And I like birds.
But I tell you,
It's like
parrots,
me with parrots.
they're scary. They got
Oh,
those
I know.
beaks.
I got bit by a Lori there. And
And
then
that's
a
what
chicken
kind of a
attacked
beak
me.
an octopus has.
Yeah.
That same kind of parrot-shaped beak,
yeah.
which is terrifying. When they feed them too, it's like they'll give them the food, and it goes like on a conveyor belt down their tentacles but you very seldom ever see their mouth.
I would have, like she said, I thought they went like this. But no, it just goes like up on a conveyor belt, up that arm and into her little mouth.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Which is, it's like, and she made some assumptions here, which I thought was
I want a conveyor belt arm.
not as scientific as it could have been. She's like, she's probably savoring it and tasting it, enjoying the flavor. And I thought that may very well be true, but
How do you know
as
that?
a scientist, you can't, but she's not really, she's a journalist.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But it was stuff like that I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably right, but maybe you're jumping to
Maybe
conclusions.
some of the time, like if it's like a new food or something, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if they have a favorite.
Yeah, well, they do have favorites.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they found out. Hers was, I think she liked squid, which was kind of like, nope, you're getting close to like
Ariel has a new favorite animal.
That's right.
I do like octopi or octopuses.
octopuses. Yeah.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
I do too.
I like mollusks of all kinds.
Mhm.
It's hard to believe that they're related to like clams.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's like,
Such a vast difference.
Yeah. but even the starfish that she was in a tank with had favorite foods, and it
Yeah.
knew to stay like off to its side. But occasionally she would give it a fish. The octopus would share the fish.
It's like she had a pet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's adorable. The octopus had a pet that was a starfish or sea
Yeah.
I
star.
love that.
Yeah. Sea star.
I love that.
The sunflower, what was it? Giant sunflower sea star?
Yeah.
Or something like
Sunstar.
that. Sunstar. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
There's pictures. I
Yeah.
love pictures in books.
Oh, I love that.
And when they're excited, they turn red. And when they're really relaxed, they turn white. And Athena would let Sy pet her on the head, and where she petted her, it would be a white spot where she was really relaxed. And see, this is a good book, guys. You really should have
I'm
read
gonna
it.
cry.
It was really
You will
a good-
cry.
Yeah, you do.
No,
you do.
don't tell me that.
We ain't reading
Yeah,
it.
because they don't live long.
No, yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I really
And-
But
didn't know
I
that
learned
either.
about that like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And Athena, go ahead.
I was going to say, they talk about it in the other book we read about the octopus. What was it
Mhm.
called? It was a deep dive.
I went brain dead now.
Anyway, that one
Uh-huh.
was,
there
it said that the main octopus guy, remarkably bright creatures. Yeah, that's right.
There was a really good nature show, and they talked about that and what's so weird with the fact that most things that are intelligent have longer lives than they do,
Mm-hmm.
because they're alien.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart, but they're not a communal species like people and other, smart things. And they short-lived, and it's just really, really neat. But I like the fact, and I'm sorry, but
No, you read it. I think it's great you're talking.
I like the fact that they explained the difference in the evolution is why they are like that, because they developed and lost their shells. So they had to develop another way of survival instead of just closing up, like clams and stuff like that. And as they evolved this intelligence to find prey, to escape from being prey, to do. And so, although we say their brains, they're not the same.
Yeah.
They're spread out, like she says, in their tentacles, and there's a ring of neurons around their legs, around their, as well as their brain. But they do have something that most everybody has that's smart are eyes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really great. But I was glad they at least touched on how they developed what they did. That may have made the difference between land-based intelligent creatures and ocean-based,
Yeah.
non-mammalian or avian.
It's true. I had a science teacher in high school, so that's been a while, that told us that an octopus was just one vertebrae away, or a spinal cord away from taking over the world because they were that smart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and then not breathing air is tricky.
That would be hard. But maybe they could figure it out. Maybe they would have built their own little,
Well, yeah, sort of like the squirrel in like in SpongeBob, where they, yeah.
I was thinking about how they fit through things and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how weird that must feel.
Yeah.
Like,
because it squishes their brain and everything.
It squishes everything. And what really gets me is the idea of their eyeballs squishing.
Oh, I didn't have to have that visual. Thank you very much.
I didn't even think about that. Thank you.
And that's like, I'm like, bleh. I don't like it.
No, I have read a couple of Tumblr posts about octopus, and a really funny story somebody had shared. I don't know how true it is because it's Tumblr. People can just make stuff up. But somebody was talking about how they had used to work or used to know somebody who worked at an aquarium, and they had gone to feed their octopus, and they had dumped like a bucket of shrimp in there, and like one of them was bad.
Oh, I remember this story.
So the octopus escaped, went out into like their office space, whatever, opened a door, took the bad shrimp, and then went and threw it on the person who put the shrimp in there. It was like, how dare you?
That's cool. That's a little iffy, though.
It is, but it's also very funny.
Yes, it is very funny.
I feel like they're almost like cat versions of sea creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they will, if they don't like you, they will jet you with water. Or they play that way too sometimes. They'll play with balls, jetting water. And
And they will throw things out of their tank.
They will,
don't want to eat.
And they're incredibly strong. You'd be surprised at how strong.
She tried to pull her in, wasn't it?
Yeah, one time, yeah. That was Octavia.
There's this guy on TikTok that I follow that has a bunch of little octopus. And there's one, I don't remember, it's so tiny, but it's like black and it has white dots on it. And he makes little things for them to do. And that one was a new one. And so whenever he was getting it out of the bottle that it came in, he tried to make everything like really enticing to get him out, but it wouldn't. Like it just brought everything in with him. He was like, "You're supposed to get out. Like quit." Like,
no, I'm good.
This is
I'm
my
good.
He said that it took like 3 hours, where normally they're kind of just like, "Oh, hey, there's space here. I can go out." But yeah, I've watched his follow-ups with that one.
Agoraphobic octopus?
Yeah. And yeah, I've watched his updates with that one since. And oh my gosh, it's so funny how, like, just how their personalities. Yeah. They all have different personalities, and it's wild.
They talk about that in the book too.
Yeah.
It's like that some of them are real laid back and chill. Some of them are very friendly and playful. And other ones are like, no.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how different even the ones you meet in the book are. Because it's just, you no sooner get attached to Athena.
Yeah.
And she up and dies. Just up and...
Oh, yeah.
It's like really quickly, which happens a lot. Usually you'll see signs, but this one is like, no, she just like, went out in a blaze of glory pretty much. It was very quick.
Yeah.
So that's when they ended up with Octavia. And Octavia was... she was very personable. She really liked Sy too. She was very tickled to see her. They would remember you. And she eventually laid eggs.
That was so cool.
It was cool, but it was so sad because they weren't fertile. And she quit eating and to protect them. But they could get her, they would entice her to eat every now and then. But, and they knew that was like when...
Yeah, they'll like let themselves starve to take care of their eggs.
Yeah. And she had a lot of eggs too, but it also made people care about her because they could see, how she was taking care of them and stuff like that. And people were like really getting attached to Octavia because of those eggs.
Yeah.
But she was a sweetheart anyway. She was probably my favorite one of the bunch. And she spent more time with Octavia than the rest of them. But and then while they figured she was not going to make it much longer, although she hung on a lot longer than I expected her.
Yeah, I was surprised.
They ordered another one. That was Kali. She was, or Kali, or I think they pronounced it Kali in the audiobook. And she was like a younger one.
Yeah.
But she had been wild caught. So she would change colors like crazy and mimic stuff. And they also found out, too, that when they sleep, they change colors.
Huh.
So they're
Also,
dreaming.
like the dreaming.
They're dreaming.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah. They dream and they, sometimes they'll camouflage, sometimes they'll be aggressive,
Oh, man, I love that.
Was there a reason they were all girl?
They just, I was just,
Or
happened
that
to be.
just how it
because
happened?
the first two that Bill had, the aquarium worker, he was a scientist, but I can't remember what his title was like he had a George and he had, I think it was Walter, and George was his favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just didn't know if maybe
Yeah, I think George was real chill. They
the
talked about
girls
him.
were more chill or.
No, they're just all
I was
of them
gonna
are
say, 'cause in
different.
Animal Kingdom, that's not normally the case.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they were talking where they get them from this guy in Seattle.
Uh-huh.
Who actually goes out and finds them in the wild. And I guess it was just the luck of the draw,
Yeah.
the 4 in a row. But because he talked about how hard it was to catch them,
Yeah.
because they don't want to be caught. They don't know they're going to live the life of luxury in Boston,
Yeah.
And so they figured they'd be on the menu somewhere,
Yeah.
But it was fascinating. All kinds of information on there. And I didn't know. I knew about those little blue ring octopuses that
Yeah.
can kill you.
Yeah.
And they're tiny little things.
Oh, yeah.
But they said that almost all octopuses have some kind of venom.
Mm-hmm.
And that surprised me because when
It did me too.
the little girl got bit, well, she was a teenager, they had to make sure not only to staunch the blood, but to make sure she didn't get sick from the venom from the octopus.
But I don't think she envenomated her, though, did she?
No,
She-
they were glad they
Yeah.
found out she didn't. Yeah.
Oh, so it's kind of like a choice thing.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I really don't
extra
like
love
you.
that. Yeah, I extra love that, man. I'm in control of my deadliness.
Yeah. They're pretty cool. I mean, they do make more choices than you realize.
Yeah.
About stuff. Octavia was the one that had their hands in the tank and she had her tentacles all over them, but they also had a bucket of fish beside the tank. And while she was playing with them, she stole it right in front of them. And they didn't see it until it was in the tank.
Yep.
So she was like, just don't look at this.
Look at these arms. I love you.
Don't look over here.
Forget I have extra arms.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
I
funny.
thought it was hilarious. She was like, ha, 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 ha. It's like, I've got the food.
Amazing.
But,
A lot of food.
it was a lot of food. They just let her have it.
I mean, I would have too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see how you'd take it away from her.
You couldn't. I don't think you could. Because if they don't want to leave an area, I mean, you're going to have to take whatever they're holding on to with you because prying them off is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because these were the giant Pacific octopus, so they got pretty good size. I mean, their heads are like the size of basketballs, if you could call it a head, but that part of the... And then they've got like an 8-foot arm span.
That when I found out there were no giant octopuses.
Like super giant,
I was
depressing.
just crushed because you'd read all these stories and see all this stuff.
I think they were squid.
I was going to say,
Probably.
it's
I know, but
squids that are
still,
giant.
they're still not big enough to sink a ship. Actually, little boat maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say probably a little one, but.
Yeah, and a
But they
giant.
could definitely pull the people off.
But no, they don't.
I know.
Because
It's much more exciting to think that there's a kraken out there somewhere.
know. I
I
know.
really genuinely think there is.
There might be.
Well,
Because we know more about space than we do the ocean.
which brings me to one of the books she mentions in here. Richard Ellis, who's a fantastic science writer about the sea, this has been several years ago, but In Search of the Giant Squid. Well, when he wrote this, they had not got the film that they have now of actual giant squid.
Yeah.
And the only reason they know there were giant squids come every now and then when one would wash up, or whalers would see suction scars on sperm whales.
Yeah.
And so for great story information on cephalopods of all kind, but especially giant squid, Richard Ellis's In Search of the Giant Squid is really good, and he's written several other good books on natural history of the sea. So just plugging another book. A nonfiction book.
Yes.
It's really good.
No, I'm good.
Okay. God, I want some
Missing out.
calamari so bad right now. I could
Oh, my God. Not me, man. Not me. I think the point she brings up, too, about scientists and when they're studying creatures, different animal species and stuff, that they find it disturbing that the animals can have feelings and personalities and thoughts, because I think it's much easier to do the things we do to them if we think they don't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when it's presented right there in your face that there's a lot more going on in those brains than
Yep.
we give them credit for, I think it makes us feel bad. I think it's
Yeah.
easier.
as well it should.
Yeah. It's easier to, experiment on something or kill something and eat it
Mhm.
if you think that there's nothing there. But when you discover that, there is,
Mhm.
it makes them uncomfortable.
I
and they don't like to
genuinely-
think about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's a big reason why we have just absolutely convinced ourselves that nothing else is as smart as we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think a lot more animals are way more aware than we even want to try to think.
They're finding, and it's amazing what they're finding out about
Mhm.
that stuff.
I still like meat though, so
I know.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm a carnivore.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even the electric eel that they had at the aquarium,
Yeah.
they could monitor it dreaming because it would occasionally give out shocks when it was asleep or it was like hunting.
That is just so cool.
Yeah.
And the arowana that they had. I mean, there was all kinds of different species that had personalities. I mean, the lobsters. I mean, I cannot imagine lobsters having
love
different
that.
personalities, but
too.
they do. They did. It was just odd. And I think you really notice this stuff when you work with the animals
Yeah,
on a
sure.
daily basis
Yeah.
like that. You see it. It's like, I mean, I've raised farm animals before, and I always say there's always one
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's going to cause you issues.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like everybody has that
Yeah.
one that's like, I mean, they're all smart and sweet and, whatever, but there's one that's like clever,
Yeah.
which is not necessarily a
You
good
don't want the
thing when
clever
it
ones.
comes to.
No.
No.
Not with farm animals. You want them all to be dumb. Just stay in their little
Mhm. That's
spaces.
right.
Because the clever one's the one that gets out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they all follow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, look, she did it. It's like,
Follow the leader.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
But
I thought-
Octavia was a sweet octopus. She was. And it was so sad with her babies because they were never going to hatch.
Yeah.
So that was, being a mom, that one really kind of got tugged at me. And then the one that replaced Octavia was Kali.
Hmm.
And she was a wild caught one. So she was more into the changing colors, and she was full of herself.
Hmm.
She was very, very playful, very interactive. And then they were doing this big remodeling of the aquarium, which is why I don't think we were there at the time. And they had to move her to a different tank because she had been in this barrel the whole time. And they were like, we got to do something with Octavia. We got to do something with Kali. So they put Kali in this temporary tank.
Hmm.
And they did everything they could to octopus proof it. I mean, clamping down the lids and everything. But you have to have like an air thing coming in.
Yeah.
Well, one night, a night watchman found her on the floor. She was dead. She was dead. Yeah, it was sad.
She pulled the hose out?
She had totally dismantled the air intake and got out that way. And they usually go straight to other water or
Yeah.
sometimes other tanks to eat the residents of those
Yeah.
tanks.
Yeah.
Which is a
Oh.
thing. I mean, there was one that was sneaking out and eating like shrimp, and there was one that had came into a big tank as
Those
a
were
baby,
restaurants.
and was. I mean, their fish were disappearing because they didn't even know they had an octopus.
Yeah.
Because it was little when it got there, and it was like eating all the capelings or whatever they had in the tank. But Kali, the only thing they could figure out what happened to her was that they have mats on all the doors that have a disinfectant in it.
Yeah.
And since an octopus is just basically a giant mucus membrane,
Hmm.
just one touch of that was enough to poison her.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
sad.
That
It was
sucks.
sad. And it was. It was
was.
because she could have been. I mean, she was.
She would have been a star.
Oh, she would have.
Mhm.
She was full of herself. I liked her. And then the last one they got was Karma. They named her Karma because
Yeah.
they had messed up with Kali, and they figured that was a good name. But Karma was pretty cool too, and that's the one that was there in the end.
Yeah.
So she was a pretty cool octopus. But it makes you really want to go visit. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'd stick my hands in those tanks in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. I have. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Usually, anytime I learn about any animal, I mean, I've always been into sea creatures anyway. That was dream for baby Mallory was marine biologist.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
Yeah, like, but yeah, anytime I hear about animals, it's always just like, what would it be like to snuggle one? Do you think it would snuggle me? Like, would it let me love it? Like,
An octopus would.
Yeah,
It's like the stingrays. You remember I waved and waved at these stingrays, and finally one came up and like sat on the glass for me.
I would have cried.
And I was like, it
Yep.
sees me.
Yep.
And they do.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I always love to pet them too. Like when you can go to the aquarium, they have those big old tanks.
Mm-hmm.
I just love on them.
Yeah,
They
it's sort of
splash
bad because you've got all these little kids and me. And I'm just
Oh,
wanting to
I
go.
don't feel bad at all. I'm like, scooch over.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll smack you with my cane, buddy, if you get my way.
The summer before my senior year of high school, I went to SeaWorld for like a career camp. So I spent a week there doing like all the behind the scenes stuff, like caring for the animals,
Oh, neat.
stuffing frozen fish with vitamins to feed to the penguins. I fed a penguin.
That is too cool.
That is so cool.
It was
Kinda
really fun.
Yeah.
And I got to train a dolphin. And that was
Ooh.
really fun. Well, it wasn't just me, like all of us in our camp did.
Sure.
But yeah, it was super, super fun. And we did all sorts of that stuff. And we spent one night not in the hotel, but we had taken our sleeping bags and slept in the dolphin area. And they were like, when you sleep and you see a dolphin, no, you don't, because they only sleep with half their brain. And, I am not going to just ignore a little baby dolphin when it comes right next to my face and is like, what you doing? What you doing over there? You just gotta, hi. And then they get so excited. And they're like, oh, a friend.
Yeah.
So I spent all night not sleeping and just playing with the
yeah.
dolphin.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was not sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That would be an experience of a lifetime. That
Yeah.
is so
Oh,
cool.
It was very fun. I loved it.
Oh, it would be.
She also, the author, learned to scuba dive so that she could go see wild octopi.
Yeah.
Octopuses, sorry.
Octopuses.
Man, that's a hard habit to break.
Yeah.
And there is one place, I can't remember where it's at, where there is a colony where they live in like communally.
Mhm.
She didn't go there, but
That
one of
would
the,
be fun.
yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the nature program, too.
Yeah.
That it's almost like an exception to the rule.
It is, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
like a
'cause most
colony of
them don't.
octopuses?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they just
Wow.
kind of hang out together, which is kind of
'cause they're
neat. I mean,
usually
they're not giant
solitary.
ones; they're smaller.
Yeah,
smaller ones.
it's a weird thing.
I can't
Oh.
remember where it's at. It's driving me crazy now. But anyway, when she was scuba diving, which she had trouble doing that because she had issues with her ears. But one of the guys that was scuba diving with him had an octopus to come up and like kind of like show him around the area. You remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah, and she got to see that octopus. So anyway, she did see some in the wild, which was pretty cool. But it was
Apparently
like,
it's off the California coast, and there's bunches of these
Yeah.
things called pearl octopuses that are there. Thousands of them.
they're just hanging out. And see,
What I
they're
think-
plotting to take over the world.
What I think is neat, too, where they talk about them using tools like if there's not a lot of nooks and crannies, they'll carry coconut shells around. with them.
Yeah.
And then scoot,
Close them up.
close them up and I'm just a coconut shell sitting on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then it gets up and walks off.
I watched this video of an octopus that there was like a robot octopus where they had a camera and everything hooked up to it.
The imposter octopus, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, so anyway, so there's like a robot octopus and then the regular octopus, and the robot octopus kind of distracts a shark from the other octopus and stuff like that. And like at first, the regular octopus wouldn't even like pay attention to the robot one. He wanted nothing to do with it.
Uh-huh.
But after he hid and watched the other octopus kind of distract the shark and whatnot like that, it went up and gave him a hug.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're best friends.
That's cognition. I mean, it's like they're figuring things out. They're seeing a cause and effect. So there's a lot more going on in that little walnut-sized
cute.
brain than.
Well, and I had seen this on TV on a nature show, and then they mentioned it in the book that the octopus wasn't in a tank with some sharks, and they thought it wasn't going to be a problem. And the octopus was literally murdering the sharks.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't, he didn't eat them, but he'd grab it and flip it over, and they couldn't, he'd basically smothering it, couldn't get any oxygen through it. And
I think they mentioned that in the book, too.
yeah, they did. That's what
yeah.
was amazing. Yeah, because I'd seen it on TV, and then, I mean, it wasn't like they were competing for food. Well, maybe, whatever. The octopus didn't like the sharks, and they just kept ending up dead on the bottom of the tank until they actually saw a video.
They do that in the wild, too. There was a fishing ship that kept on seeing these sharks just show up dead, like just float to the surface dead. And they were like, didn't know why, because there was no marks on it or anything like that. Well, they eventually somehow got under the water or put a camera down under there was a giant octopus down there breaking their necks just because it was bored.
Whoa.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, it would wait for them to swim by, and it would grab it and jerk them so hard it snapped their neck.
That is cat behavior.
Yeah.
Absolutely cat behavior.
Cat behavior.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just like,
Yeah, for real.
I wonder what. Yeah, what would it do if I picked it up and chomped its little neck?
Let that
Let's do it
happen.
again.
I must test this theory.
Yeah.
Serial killer octopuses,
Yeah, which means you just don't, and they pointed out, you don't mess with them. Those big ones are so big, and so you've got to respect them.
Yeah.
Or they will drown you.
Because they can kill you.
It would be my best friend. We would snuggle. It's fine.
It's the last little blurb goes out.
Yeah, that's just me in general, though. It's like, I'm sorry. A bear is my best friend.
It's like, I want to snuggle a shark. I would love to go swim with them.
They're delicious too,
I've never ate one. I would eat one. I probably
probably would try it.
Maybe not the one you snuggled with.
I mean, it depends on how well it snuggled with me. If it didn't,
I
if
don't
it was
think they're
rude
known
and
for
didn't
snuggling.
snuggle with me, then maybe it would just be delicious.
Well, we just haven't found the right snuggling shark yet. We have time. We can find it.
Nurse sharks would snuggle.
Yeah.
Except for that poor kid. I mean, they had that walk with sharks there at that place in the Bahamas, and they had what they thought were calm sharks.
Oh, no.
Nurse sharks, and I can't remember what the other one was. And you'd go down and walk in, and it bit the kid, and he's in the hospital.
Oof.
I feel like maybe he was just putting off the wrong vibes.
They can tell.
Yeah, well, yeah,
can
it was
tell.
the kid's fault.
Oh, yeah,
right?
definitely. Definitely.
Maybe he was on medication and they just.
There we go.
Yeah, he could have pulled its tail or something.
I mean, they're kids. I could see that happening.
I honestly could too.
Yeah.
No, that's one of those things. It's like, if I'm ever out and something wild kills me, it's my fault.
It always
Like,
is.
don't even try to blame that animal. If you do anything to harm that animal, I will haunt you.
Yeah. Well, and it always is like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
People forget they're wild animals.
They are.
Yeah.
And it's like, as much as I want to snuggle them all, I probably would not really try to snuggle a bear out in the wild.
I don't know.
I can't make
Have you
like
seen
any
those ones
major
that come up to like the
promises.
porches of people? Like, it's asking for
Little
some
girl,
pets.
can I pet that dog?
Yeah, that's me.
Can I pet that dog? I love that
Can I pet
video.
that dog?
The dog is a
They're
bear.
like, no.
Oh, no. I have to look at that. That
It
is
is
good.
It's hilarious.
so funny.
And she sounds just like that.
She
Can I pet
just
that
says-
dog?
She just says repeatedly, "Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?" She's like, why?
Go right ahead.
She keeps getting louder. It's great.
Yeah.
So I can always get you those like Bigfoot books like that, so you can. She said no to Bigfoot. I don't understand that.
Oh my God. It's so funny though.
But this is an amazing book. I think the only criticism I have is that she spent an awful lot of time on the interactions between people and how they bonded around the octopuses and stuff like that. But I would have much rather heard more about the actual octopuses and what they did. That would be my only criticism, that it was, I mean, it really makes you question the science on how animals think and how conscious they are of themselves and the world around them and their interactions with it. You're looking at the pictures, looking at the babies.
It has great pictures.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific book. And I thought it was interesting how the different people reacted with the octopuses and how the octopuses reacted with different people.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's really cool.
They had their favorites. They really did.
Man, I want to be an octopus favorite so bad. I know. It's just like my new goal in life.
That's right. Yeah.
I was looking at these pictures, and it's the one where it's like using its arm like a conveyor belt. And the first sentence is, an octopus's mouth is in its armpits.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yes, but why did you have to phrase it like that?
I felt the same way. No.
It's got to get that ew.
Yeah.
But I would highly recommend the book. It's definitely worth a read. It's not a long book.
I think I'm definitely going to have to look at this one because
it's a good fast read because you don't want to put it down.
Yeah, I definitely want to read it. I don't know if I want to do like a tandem read maybe because I want to see the pictures too.
Yeah, it's...
I don't know. I'm not big in the... Like, it sounds really good, and I'm worried that if I start it, I'm going to be like, this is dull. Because I just don't like reading about...
That I, like I said, that I had to like push my way through. It's usually when she was talking about the interactions with the people because I was really into the octopuses. I really wanted to know
there was
more
a bit
about
too
them.
much of that in the book. From the
people?
I read a quarter of it, and that's basically what turned me off of it.
It's
it didn't turn me off, but it did surprise me that it was as much, but as much about the people as it was the octopuses. But I got to tell you though, as far as libraries are concerned, her nonfiction for children, well.
I'm going to have to get some of those.
Are great. They're fantastic. There's a lot of pictures. There's a lot of good. And she talks about how the scientists study particular animals. And so I think of all the ones, we really need to get the octopus scientists because of the book, But she's an awfully good, she doesn't talk down. They're not cutesy. They're just kids that like science or even don't like science because they don't know any better will pick these books up and go, whoa, this is cool. The wording, the text is great. The photographs are great. She's got a great series of books.
I'm going to have to get those in so we have them.
Yeah.
I went to Rita.
Because I had known her as a children's librarian and as her children's books. So I was really tickled when I saw what she'd written because I remember seeing some of those,
Fun fact, I just went through to try and see if it was in Kindle Unlimited. It's not. I can buy it though, but
it's in Libby.
Yeah. There's another book, also a nonfiction, called The Soul of an Octopus.
Oh,
and
really?
It's by Evelyn Poirier, maybe? Not sure. Anyway, it's only a 51-page book. And it's essentially discussing the fascination of intelligence, emotions, and unique personalities of octopus.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It sounds like it cuts straight to the point.
Yeah. That one I can read for free. So I'm going to add that one to my list, and we'll look into that one too. And I'll compare them.
Now, do you think that other one's a junior book?
You know what? It might be.
Because if it's only many pages.
I'm going to add it to my list because I currently have too many books in Kindle Unlimited.
I wanted to read you a quote from the book because how you spoke about them.
Yeah.
This is talking about like working with octopuses. Such was the day that Alexa Warburton found herself chasing a fist-sized octopus as it ran across the floor. Yes, ran. You chased him under the tank, back and forth, like you were chasing a cat.
I was like, they're cats.
Yeah. She's like, it's just so weird. But it's like, they're just amazing. Absolutely amazing creatures. And this book really makes you want to learn more about the different octopuses.
I love that.
There is, because there's like little tiny ones, and then there's the giant Pacific. And
they're pretty.
They're beautiful.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
especially those little blue rings.
Oh, they're
That are
gorgeous.
killers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they're gorgeous little things.
They are.
Of
They're
course,
pretty.
they're
and
in Australia, of all places.
Yeah, and you
I
don't
like-
want
of
to
course
have
Of course they are.
The Dumbo octopuses are my favorite.
Oh, the Dumbo
yeah.
octopus is the
I
cutest
love
stuff
them
on the
so
planet.
much.
I've got a new book. I can't remember the name of it, by Riley Black about ocean, and she's got a whole chapter on the Dumbo octopus and a lot of great pictures.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah, they are. And what's weird, and then you've got the vampire octopus, who are so scary looking.
They are kind
Oh,
of.
they're terrifying. Or the death
Yeah.
mantle octopus. There's a bunch of like really scary looking ones in the deep ocean.
Yeah, but it's because here you got little Dumbo with its little, you know.
That's probably the one that would probably tear your arms off. The other ones would be like cuddle bugs.
I don't
Yeah.
even care. Just snuggle me. I'll go out happy.
Fortunately, the vampire octopus is not very large, or
Yeah.
you know, but it's creepy looking.
It is. It is.
But that's okay.
I just want one of the little teeny,
I'm sure I
like,
look creepy to a-
hand-sized ones.
A vampire octopus. Too.
You know, I wonder
I
what we do look like to an octopus. I wonder.
Man, I love thinking about stuff like
Well, they
this.
got the
Like,
I
weird
can see-
pupils and stuff. Like it's all
I know.
horizontal. Also,
Yeah,
there
like
was one
goats.
thing. It reminds me. In the book, they talk about how they only have one kind of like photoreceptor in their eyeball, but they can still camouflage, which is wild
Which
because they
is-
can't see
yeah.
color. Like they can't, like at least not the way we see color.
I think they sense it.
I
know,
know.
that's
It's just like
probably
how they do that. They got photoreceptors on their skin. It's just strange.
Yeah. Because the next
I
thing
think
you know,
they do.
I think so. They'd,
Well, I don't
they'd
think we
almost have
found
to.
them if that's the case.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Because it's weird. All of a sudden, they're just looking like an octopus, and the next thing you know, they disappear. Because what's wild is not only do they change colors, they change textures.
Yeah.
And that is incredible to me, where they just, all of a sudden, it looks like a rock with little pointy places.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
It's so cool.
They're
yeah,
amazing.
it is cool. Yeah. Yeah, we need an octopus.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But,
Just so we can get attached to it and have it die.
No,
I don't want to
no.
talk about it.
I don't think we could octopus proof a tank. I don't know.
You would have
I mean,
to
I
make
don't
it
know.
completely sealed.
We
like
could just
Yeah.
build like a section of wall, and then we could just like put the octopus in there, and then seal that off on
And
top.
what do we do about the
We'll figure something out.
the air? You know,
We'll
it's
figure
like
something
Feeding
out.
it.
like
well, I used to go to
We have ways. We're
to the
librarians.
National Zoo site.
We'll figure it
The
out.
National Zoo in in Washington, they had one called Octavian, and he was a good size, you know. And at 11 o'clock in the morning, it was feeding time. So I'd go onto the site and watch with the octopus cam, and they'd have a pair of tongs, and he's getting closer to the top of the tank, and they drop this. Well, they don't even have a chance to drop it, and there's big shrimp go, shoo, and it was gone. And you'd see all these people in the, you know, the people behind the tank, you know, and I would go on, you know, at 11 o'clock and watch them feed the octopus, and I don't know. That was just so cool.
Yeah.
You know? And one time I looked in, and the camera was blank. I'm thinking, oh, they've closed it down. And then it started to get fuzzy.
it was
And the octopus was just oozing its way across the camera lens. And you saw parts of the octopus you really didn't care to see.
Yeah.
It was great. I don't think they have that anymore, but it was
That's
awesome.
pretty cool.
I love that.
And of course, they had a contest for kids, and they'd call him Octavian because they were, you know, like
Yeah.
I think Octavia was named by the public.
yeah. Not very imaginative, really.
No, it wasn't. No, but you know, it is what it is. But it was a good book. I would highly recommend it. I mean, it's a quick read. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
If you like the people interactions, you'll love it. But
The science is good too.
it is good. It is good. And what you learn about the octopuses is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
I always knew they were smart, but it's like this was even more
a different
so.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes me want to go, like, stick my hands in an octopus tank and see
Yeah.
what happens.
It would bite you.
Maybe not. Maybe it would love me. I don't have nicotine. So.
We'll be instant besties.
But anyway, that's all I got for that one.
Is that us wrapped? Do we have any final thoughts?
No,
Anybody?
octopuses are cool, though.
They are.
Go to an
God love
aquarium near you.
Yes. Ooh, let's take a field trip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's not that far.
Yeah. Let's go.
Well, the Shed Aquarium in Chicago is fantastic.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is very
Yeah.
good. Plus, the Dresden Files was there once.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. There we go.
Yeah.
It's
Although
a
I think they've
double field
messed
trip.
it up a
Double
bit.
field trip.
Yes.
Let's go. Library funded, right?
There you go. Oh, my favorite
In your
exhibit there,
dreams.
and I don't remember an octopus at Shed, but one of the things was they had really big, those lion's mane jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't as long as the model they had, but being a Sherlock Holmes fan, I had to see a lion's mane jellyfish, and they were the jellies. Just watching the jellies in the tank, it's just
Mesmerizing.
whoa, man.
Yeah.
I love jellyfish. I love watching them. On that trip, I took pictures of like a bunch of the jellies, the moon jellies.
Yes.
And those were my phone and computer backgrounds for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Just so pretty.
Well, the website for the marina, not fisherman's. Where is it? In California, Monterey Bay Aquarium.
yeah.
Sorry, has great videos of that sort of jellies, and you could just sit there and stare at them. And they show a number of things. One of my favorite videos then, and you have to be aware of when they're feeding them because we got 4 hours difference, is when they feed the penguins, and they also when they show the volunteers with the penguin cam, they're cleaning the place, and the penguins follow them around and try to grab the hose. And,
Penguins are
it's
such
hysterical.
chaos.
So that's a great sight, and that would be a great place to go.
Yeah.
There's a video of a diver cleaning a tank with an octopus in it,
Mm-hmm.
and the octopus won't leave the diver alone.
And they have to hold its
They have to hold
hand.
hands while they
It's
clean
so
with the other one. Yeah.
cute.
God, that's the dream. I love that. That's
At least
fantastic.
he's not afraid of the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Have
not
you seen the one where they're trying to clean the tank and the turtle keeps coming up and trying to bite them?
Oh, that would be Myrtle.
Yeah.
They keep on turtle pushing it away. It's like coming slow motion.
The turtle in this book, Myrtle, was into everything like that. I mean, they would, when they did documentaries on some of the other ones, they had to put a diver in the tank just for Myrtle.
Oh my
To
gosh.
keep her entertained.
That is
And it
amazing.
only lasted about a minute and a half. And they were like, she was like over there looking at the cameras and getting in the way. And Myrtle was,
And that's something that surprised me, and I've seen it on other nature shows, is turtles have more of a personality than I thought.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're sassy a lot of time.
Yeah.
They got some attitude. I've never seen a turtle that didn't have attitude. And every single video I've ever watched of a turtle, they got sass.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, love it.
They
But
talked
I mean,
about
they
her
live for
ruling
so
the
long.
tank.
I'm sure they developed
I would too.
sass.
Yeah. For sure.
And they're not nearly as smart as octopuses. It's not
No,
as fair.
They're just sassy.
It's not fair, though.
I'd be sassy
chaotic.
too if I were just like old and slow.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm old and slow and sassy.
I know.
See?
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
proving our
That's what I'm
point.
saying.
My favorite
I'm not
cartoon
even.
character is Slappy Squirrel.
Yep.
She is
Old and
That's what
sassy.
I aspire to be.
Yep. We're already sassy.
I know.
We can be slow.
We have our days.
1.5 out of 3. We're halfway there. Okay, I think that's going to wrap us up. So, our next episode, we are going to be discussing Carla's Deep Dive, which is Nora Roberts' Born in Fire. So, it's a romance.
They are so excited. I could just feel it.
She can feel it. followed by a book chat, our second book chat of the year.
Or possibly a guest author, depending.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Or possibly a guest author. So fingers crossed.
I hope the guest author. I haven't read very many books this year.
Yeah, we don't we don't have very much time for a book chat yet. Followed by that, we have a Curiosities, which is you and Zach.
Yeah,
Carla?
Zach, have you picked anything yet?
No, we should probably pick something out soon, though.
Yeah. I picked the last one. It's your turn.
I'll get on
Following that is Zach's nonfiction pick, which he also doesn't have picked yet, which is fine. It's fine. We're totally fine.
We got Travis in there somewhere, don't we?
Yes,
Got
and
like
then
a month.
after this is like a month and a half out or something like that. So after that we have Travis back, and he's bringing Face Worn with him, which is book 2 of Steel Fated. So we're pretty excited about that. That'll be really fun. I think that's it for us today. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. It is time for us to sign off, but before we go, only the best libraries have librarians who don't shush you.